The 1980s came roaring in with confidence. Ronald Reagan's grin plastered across televisions, speeches full of optimism and free market promises. America, we were told, was back. The economy was recovering, Wall Street was booming, and everywhere you turned, there were slogans about morning in America. But for me, mornings still began with scrambled eggs on mismatched plates, school lunches packed before sunrise, and a half-empty gas tank I prayed would last through the week. Reaganomics didn't quite trickle down to mothers like me. By 1980, Leslie had moved into full-time urban development work with the city. He came home late, shoulders heavy with paperwork and blueprints. Zoning codes, infrastructure projects, housing plans, they filled his head, and slowly, our dinner conversations. He was passionate, but also tired. Cities were growing too fast, and people were being pushed to the edges. He wanted to design places where families could thrive, but the politics didn't always cooperate. Meanwhile, I had finally earned a promotion at the firm, senior analyst. I thought it would feel like a victory, and it did for a moment, until I realized the raise came with longer hours, fewer breaks, and more meetings in rooms where I was still the only woman, and always the only Asian. In those meetings, I learned to perfect the silent calculation, nodding politely while mentally running projections, listening to condescending remarks while preparing flawless reports. "You're probably just naturally good at this, Asian genes, right?" one colleague said with a smirk. I smiled thinly. Correcting him would have taken more energy than I had left that day. Some battles, I told myself, could wait. Others, I fought through excellence. Our lives changed dramatically in 1981. That spring, we bought our first home, a modest 3-bedroom in the East Bay with a creaky back door and a lemon tree that hadn't borne fruit in years. It wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. My parents cried the first time they saw it, muttering prayers of gratitude in Cantonese while walking barefoot through the empty living room. Then came Jay. She arrived that April, a loud, red-faced whirlwind of a baby who screamed through the night and clutched at life with wild determination. Our third child, and our last. She was born into a different world, one with microwaves, VHS tapes, and MTV already waiting. I remember holding her in my arms, while the TV played music videos in the background, wondering how much further from my own childhood she would grow. Jay would become my most American child. She spoke English before Cantonese. She loved peanut butter more than rice porridge. She asked to go to McDonald's after kindergarten and wanted a Walkman before she could spell cassette. I worried sometimes that she would drift too far from our traditions, but I also marveled at the confidence she carried, the ease with which she moved through the world. Still, with 3 children and 2 working parents, our life felt like an endless to-do list. More money didn't mean less stress. It meant daycare bills, rising mortgage payments, traffic that stole hours, and a constant negotiation between guilt and responsibility. We planned meals around sale flyers. We held on to coupons like currency. We timed laundry loads to avoid peak electric rates. But through it all, there was a quiet sense of progress. Our kids were growing. We had a mortgage in our name. We were building something slowly, imperfectly, but undeniably ours. I used to wonder if this was the American dream, if it was supposed to feel this tiring. But then I'd see Lydia reading to Erin, or Jay chasing butterflies in our tiny yard, and I'd remember dreams aren't always shiny. Sometimes they just look like survival with purpose.